BTS's Arirang World Tour 2026 concert on Foxborough Day 2 became one of the most emotional nights for fans. Since the beginning of the show began, the atmosphere of the stadium has been filled with incredible energy from tens of thousands of soldiers who came from various countries. But among the spectacular performances, magnificent stage settings, and a row of hits that rocked the stadium, there was one moment that really managed to steal the attention of the entire audience. The moment occurred when Jungkook and Jimin suddenly started talking about Jeon in front of the fans. No one expected that the simple conversation would turn into one of the most touching parts of the entire concert that evening. Even many fans admitted that they could not hold back tears when they heard what the two youngest members of BTS said. At first, the atmosphere was relaxed. Jungkook and Jimin were interacting with the fans while enjoying the breaks between performances. They joked, smiled, and occasionally waved to different sides of the stadium. But the mood changed when Jin's name began to be mentioned in their conversation. Jungkook, who is known to have a very close relationship with Jeon, was seen smiling warmly before starting to speak. He revealed how great the role of Jeon in maintaining the team atmosphere during the tour. According to him, many things may not be visible to fans, but Jeon always tries to make sure all members feel comfortable and happy in the midst of a very busy schedule. Jungkook's words immediately made the stadium quieter. The fans listened attentively because they knew that the words came from the heart. Jungkook explained that Jeon is often the one who breaks the ice when the members feel tired after a long journey and non-stop training. Soon, Jimin added a story that made the atmosphere more emotional. He says that Jeon often puts the needs of other members above his own. According to Jimin, although Jeon often appears cheerful and full of jokes in front of the camera, there are many sacrifices that Sanghyun makes to make sure all the members stay strong during the world tour. The statement was immediately greeted by cheers and long applause from the army. Many fans were visibly moved as they finally heard firsthand how the BTS members appreciated each other behind the scenes. What makes this moment even more special is Jin's own reaction. As Jungkook and Jimin continued to praise her, Jeon looked very embarrassed. He lowered his head a few times with a small laugh. Even the stadium cameras captured his facial expressions, which he did not expect to be the center of attention that night. Whenever Jungkook or Jimin expressed positive things about himself, Jeon immediately shook his head as if to say that he did not deserve all the praise. That simple reaction actually made the fans even more touched. Many ARMY considered that Jin's expression that night showed his true personality. For many years, Jeon was known as a figure who always tried to make others smile. He is often a source of positive energy in the group and never hesitates to entertain the other members when the mood is heavy. In the middle of the conversation, Jungkook picks up the microphone again and says that Jeon is one of the reasons why the members can always feel like family. The speech immediately made the stadium filled with screaming fans. Jimin nodded in agreement and added that Jeon was always present at important moments. He describes the Jin as someone who is able to provide comfort only through simple words. According to him, Jin's presence is often a source of strength for the members. Hearing that, Jeon looked even more blushing. He even walked away a few steps while covering his face because he felt embarrassed. The spontaneous reaction made the whole stadium laugh as well as feel touched. Social media immediately crowded to discuss the moment. Shortly after the concert, various Fancam videos began circulating and gained millions of viewers in a short time. Many fans shared footage of Jungkook and Jimin talking about Jeon, while others focused on Jin's expression, which looked very emotional. On various platforms, ARMY wrote loving comments. Many said that the moment reminded them why BTS has such a strong relationship, not just as co-workers or group mates, but as a family that really takes care of each other. Some fans even called the Foxboro Day 2 moment one of the most sincere interactions they've seen during the Arirang World Tour 2026. No script, no special preparation, just a frank conversation born of mutual respect. The night also proved that the bond between the BTS members remains strong despite their many journeys together. From the days of trainees, debuts, the struggle for global success, to now holding world-scale stadium tours, their relationship remains filled with respect and affection. Jungkook himself seemed very serious when talking about Jeon. This makes many fans feel even more moved because they have known how close the two members are. As the youngest member, Jungkook has often received attention and support from Jeon since the beginning of BTS's career. Meanwhile, Jimin also looked very emotional when he expressed his opinion. The gentle smile that appeared on his face showed how much gratitude he had for Jeon. Every sentence that comes out sounds sincere and appreciative. The peak of emotion of the evening came when the entire stadium gave a long ovation to Jeon. Thousands of Lightstick Army glittered like a sea of stars, creating such a beautiful scene. Jeon seemed to be silent for a while looking at the audience around him. Although he didn't say much, his facial expression was enough to describe his feelings. He looks very moved to receive support from members and fans. Many soldiers admitted to crying when they saw the moment through the stadium's large screen. After the atmosphere calmed down a bit, Jeon finally thanked Jungkook, Jimin, and all the fans who always gave unconditional love. The simple sentence was immediately greeted by cheers from the entire stadium. The moment became one of the most precious memories in the Foxboro Day 2 concert series. Even after the concert ended, the fans still continued to talk about it. Many have said that this is the reason they have remained in love with BTS for so many years. Not only because of their wonderful music, but also because of the sincere relationship they show each other. In the midst of a competitive entertainment industry, BTS continues to prove that friendship and mutual respect are the main foundations that make them survive to this day. Foxboro Day 2 ended up not only being remembered as a night full of spectacular performances, but also as the night when Jungkook and Jimin publicly revealed how precious Jeon was to them. Jin's embarrassed, moved, and grateful reaction became a moment that touched the hearts of millions of fans around the world. For ARMY, the incident is a reminder that behind BTS's huge success, there are 7 people who always support each other endlessly. And that night in Foxboro was one of the most beautiful proofs of the bond they had built over the years together. No wonder that until now videos and photos from the moment continue to circulate widely on social media. Every time fans look back at Jin's shocked expression as well as being touched by Jungkook and Jimin's words, that warm feeling reappears. A simple moment, but powerful enough to make millions of hearts touched and remind everyone of the meaning of friendship, family, and sincere love in BTS. The excitement of Foxboro Day 2 didn't stop there. After the long applause from the fans subsided, the atmosphere of the stadium turned out to be much more emotional. Many soldiers are still trying to digest Jungkook and Jimin's words about Jeon. In various corners of the stadium, fans could be seen hugging each other, while others raised lightsticks higher as if to show their support for all BTS members. The genie, who is usually quick to distract with her typical jokes that night, looked different. His smile was still visible, but there was a look in his eyes that showed that he was really touched by what had just happened. The stadium camera flashed his face several times, and every time Jin's face appeared on the giant screen, the cheers of the fans instantly echoed. Jungkook, who was standing not far from Jeon, was then seen approaching him. He patted Sanghyung's shoulder with a smile. The simple interaction immediately made the fans scream again. Many felt that the moment showed a very warm brother and sister relationship between them. Since BTS's debut, Jeon has been known as a figure who always takes care of younger members. But that night, it was as if the roles were reversed. Jungkook and Jimin became the ones to publicly show their gratitude to Jeon in front of tens of thousands of people. ARMY, who followed BTS's journey from the beginning, certainly knew that Jeon had a very important position in the group. As the oldest member, he often mediates when there are disagreements, becomes a source of laughter when the atmosphere is tense, and becomes a figure who always tries to make sure everyone feels comfortable. That's why when Jungkook and Jimin started talking about Jin's sacrifice over the years, many fans felt that someone had finally conveyed what they had been feeling. Some fans even wrote on social media that the moment felt like a very fitting tribute to Jeon. During this time, he was often the one who gave attention to other members without asking for anything in return. Not a few also remember the long journey of BTS from the early days of debut until now. At that time, they were not the largest group in the world. They are 7 young people who have big dreams and must face many challenges. In various old interviews, the members several times told how Jeon always tried to keep the atmosphere positive even though things were not easy. Therefore, when Jungkook and Jimin expressed their gratitude in Foxborough, many of the ARMY felt that the circle had finally become complete. The concert then continued with several songs that made the stadium rumble again. But interestingly, the emotional atmosphere was still felt. Every time Jeon appeared on the screen, the cheers given by fans sounded much louder than usual. Many of the ARMY seemed to want to show that they understand and appreciate all the things Jeon has done so far. On one of the next breaks, the members again gathered in the middle of the stage. They joke with each other and try to break the ice. But the topic of Jeon again appeared. This time, several other members smiled and listened to the story previously told by Jungkook and Jimin. This further reinforces the impression that what was revealed that night was not just an ordinary compliment, but something that all BTS members really felt. Foxborough Stadium filled with a sea of purple light witnessed one of the hottest moments of their world tour this year. Many fans in attendance admitted that they never expected to witness such a frank conversation in person. Usually concerts are filled with musical performances, grandiose choreography, and funny interactions. But that night, fans also got a chance to see the emotional side of the members' relationship. On social media, keywords related to Jeon, Jungkook, and Jimin immediately became a hot topic of conversation. Thousands of uploads popped up in just minutes after the moment happened. Most fans share photos and videos with captions full of emotion. Some wrote that they cried when they heard Jungkook speak. Some say that Jin's reaction made their hearts feel warm. Many ARMY considered that Jin's expression that night showed how sincere the members' relationship was. No impression is made up or prepared in advance. Everything feels natural and comes from the heart. That's what makes that moment so memorable. A fan who was present directly at the stadium even wrote that the atmosphere at that time was very different from the rest of the concert. According to him, when Jungkook and Jimin started talking about Jeon, the whole stadium suddenly became quieter. Tens of thousands of people listened intently.
No excessive screaming. No distractions.
Only the voices of the members and thousands of fans dissolved in the same emotions. For many, that's BTS's greatest strength. They are not only able to entertain through music, but also able to create a very strong emotional connection with the fans. The night in Foxborough was a perfect example of that. Interestingly, many ARMYs then began re-uploading various old moments that showed Jin's closeness to other members. Some shared videos of Jeon helping Jungkook in the early days of his debut. There are those who remind how Jeon often accompanies Jimin when he is having a hard time. There are also those who discuss how the genie has always been a figure capable of making everyone laugh even in the most exhausting situations. All of those memories reappeared and made Haru's atmosphere even more felt in the BTS fan community. Some large fanbase accounts even refer to Foxborough Day 2 as a tribute night to the unplanned genie. The phrase then spread widely and received a lot of support from fans. Although it sounds simple, many feel the term is very appropriate. Because in the end the night did feel like a form of great appreciation for the figure of Jeon. On the other hand, Jungkook's reaction after that moment also attracted attention. Several times he was seen smiling contentedly while looking at Jeon, as if he felt happy to finally be able to convey the things that had been on his mind. Jimin also showed a similar expression. She looked relieved and happy after successfully expressing her respect for Sanghyung in front of thousands of fans. The two members probably didn't realize that their words that night would leave such a deep impression on so many people. But in fact, that's exactly what happened. Even a few days after the concert, the video of the moment still continues to be watched millions of times. Comments keep coming in from all over the country. ARMY from South Korea, Japan, Indonesia, the United States, Brazil, Mexico, the United Kingdom, to European countries gave the same reaction. They feel touched. They feel proud. And they feel happy to see the BTS members' relationship remain strong after so many years together. Not a few also said that the moment reminded them of the reason they first became BTS fans. Not just because of their songs. Not only because of the spectacular stage performance. Rather, it is because of the sincerity of the relationship that they showed each other. When the concert entered the final part, the atmosphere of the stadium was again filled with incredible energy. But the trace of emotion from the conversation about the genie remained until the last song was performed. As the rest of the members stood side by side to give a closing greeting, the cheers given to Jeon sounded very loud. He smiled back shyly and bowed to the fans. The moment seemed simple, but for many of the ARMY, it was one of the most beautiful scenes of the night. Because behind the lights, the grand stage, and their status as global superstars, all that was seen that night was a group of friends who appreciated and supported each other. And maybe that's the reason why BTS continues to be loved by millions of people around the world. Foxborough Day 2 will always be remembered not only for its wonderful concert, but also for the night when Jungkook and Jimin sincerely told how valuable Jeon was to them. A night full of surprises. A night filled with gratitude. And a night that reminded everyone that the bond of BTS's 7 members is much stronger than anything else. For the ARMY who were present in person, as well as those who watched through various Fancam recordings, the moment will live on in their memories for a very long time. Every shy smile of Jeon, every sincere word from Jungkook and Jimin, as well as every love cheer from the fans have become a part of BTS, emotional history that is hard to forget. The night may have ended, the stadium lights may have gone out, and the fans may have gone home. But the warm feelings born from that moment still persist, proving once again that BTS is not just a music group, but a family that grew together and continues to walk side by side with ARMY around the world.